The cosmos may already have a death sentence, and the execution may already be in progress. Not a supernova, not a gamma-ray burst, not the kind of destruction that announces itself with light and heat across billions of light years. This is a bubble, smaller than an atom when it started, where the fabric of reality itself collapsed into a lower state. And from that single point, it has been expanding outward in every direction at the speed of light ever since. Think of it as Judgment Day, but not the kind with warning signs or prophecy or time to prepare. The kind where the last moment every species in its path ever experienced was a perfectly ordinary moment, right up until the physical laws that made them possible simply stopped applying. If this bubble exists, and the math says it can, it is already moving. Right now, toward you. And the reason you would never see it coming is not because it is invisible. It is because nothing in existence can outrun it. The destruction and the first possible warning of that destruction travel at the exact same speed. This is a genuine prediction from the most precisely tested scientific model ever built. The physicists who built it cannot rule it out. They can only estimate the chance. And that chance is not zero. To understand why, you need to understand something about deep space that most people never encounter. The cosmos does not simply exist. It exists in a particular state, and that state has an energy level linked to it. The question underneath everything else in physics is whether the state we currently occupy is its lowest possible energy state, its true ground state, or whether it is something that merely appears stable. Something stable enough to have lasted 14 billion years, but not permanent in any deeper sense. The Higgs field is where this question lives. The Higgs field flows through all of space, every single corner of the cosmos, everywhere, at all times. It is the field that gives fundamental particles their mass. Without it, electrons have no mass, atoms cannot form, chemistry is impossible, and nothing made of physical matter can exist. It is, in the most literal sense, the thing that makes our reality what it is. It settled into its current value in the first fraction of a second after the Big Bang. That value has held for 14 billion years. It gave rise to stars, to galaxies, to life, to everything. But there is a problem. When scientists measure the Higgs field and run those numbers through their equations, what they find is unsettling. The field does not appear to sit at the bottom of its energy landscape. It sits in a dip, a shallow valley that is lower than the surrounding terrain, but is not the lowest point available. Picture a ball resting in a shallow bowl carved into the side of a hill. The ball is stable. It has been sitting there for 14 billion years without moving. But the bowl is not at the bottom of the hill. There is a deeper valley further down. And quantum physics says that given enough time, the ball does not need to roll over the edge to get there. It can pass directly through the wall. Quantum mechanics does not require energy to overcome a barrier. It requires only time and chance. That lower valley is the true vacuum. And the moment the Higgs field reaches it, a bubble forms and expands at the speed of light, rewriting the rules of reality in every direction at once. Inside that bubble, physics is different. Not different the way hot and cold are different. Different the way the rules themselves are different. The masses of particles change. The forces change. The specific values that make atoms stable and chemistry possible, all of it changes the instant the bubble wall passes through. There is no explosion, no heat, no warning signal, just the boundary itself, moving at the speed of light. On one side, the world you have always known. On the other, something that physical matter cannot survive. Not because you are destroyed, because the rules that made you possible no longer apply. In 2012, when the Higgs boson was discovered and its mass confirmed, scientists mapped the energy landscape of the Higgs field using that data. What they found placed our world in a state of temporary stability. Not fully stable, not unstable, somewhere in between. Stable enough to last for vast spans of time, but not permanently stable. Not the true ground state. The question is not whether vacuum decay can happen. The math confirms it can. The question is whether it has already happened somewhere in the vast dark beyond what we can observe, and whether the bubble that resulted is already in transit toward us. We have no way of knowing. The information cannot reach us before the bubble does. What vacuum decay actually represents, when you step back far enough, is not destruction in the way that word is usually meant. It is the cosmos finding a more stable version of itself, settling into its true ground state, completing a process that began in the first instant after the Big Bang. Every galaxy, every star, every atom, every structure that has ever given rise to anything exists because the Higgs field settled where it did. Life is not an inevitable outcome of space. Life is a product of this specific temporary phase, this short window, before the field finds its way to where it was always going to end up. We are not permanent residents. We are inhabitants of a temporary phase, one that has lasted long enough to produce everything we know. And that may be all the time this phase was ever going to have. The Higgs field does not negotiate. It does not know we are here. It simply sits in its shallow bowl, and somewhere in the vast dark, the quantum clock that has always been ticking has either still got time, or has already run out. The only reason you are here to think about this is that so far, in this corner of space, the ball has held.